Today, we're diving deep into a hidden detail behind one of the most emotional performances ever captured, Kurt Cobain's MTV Unplugged. It wasn't just the songs or his voice, it was also the battered guitar and a rare pickup that shaped the entire sound of that night. Let's go inside the story of Kurt's Martin D18E and the mysterious Bartolini 3AV. In November 1993, something unforgettable happened in a small New York studio. Kurt Cobain, frontman of Nirvana, walked onto the MTV Unplugged stage, not with polished perfection, but with something raw, broken, and brutally honest. That night is remembered for its emotional weight. But there's a piece of gear most people don't realize helped create that haunting atmosphere. Kurt's battered guitar and a rare, unusual pickup fitted inside it, the Bartolini 3AV. The guitar he used wasn't just any acoustic. It was a 1959 Martin D18E, one of the weirdest models Martin ever produced. Martin had built their reputation on making clean, bright acoustics, guitars that rang out like bells. But the D18E was their attempt to go electric, fitting two awkward-looking Diarmid pickups onto a traditional body. It wasn't a success. Only about 302 D18Es were ever made, and the one Kurt got his hands on, it had been heavily modified by the time it reached him. Somewhere along its life, one of the Diarmid pickups was ripped out and replaced with a Bartolini 3AV soundhole pickup. A strange choice. Bartolini pickups are magnetic, meaning they behave much more like electric guitar pickups than traditional acoustic ones. Instead of miking the air and wood resonance of the guitar body, the Bartolini reads the vibration of the strings directly. The result is a tone that's darker, thicker, almost compressed, more like a gritty electric guitar hiding inside an acoustic body. This was not the kind of sound that most artists would ever want for an acoustic session, especially not something as pristine and exposed as MTV Unplugged. But for Kurt, it was perfect. He didn't want a clean, polished sound. He wanted something broken, something raw that matched the way he felt inside. Even the way he amplified the guitar was unconventional. Instead of using a traditional acoustic amp or running direct into the PA system, Kurt plugged the Martin with the Bartolini pickup into a 1960s-era Fender twin reverb amp. An amp designed for electrics, not acoustics. The engineers were worried. Everyone knew that feeding a magnetic pickup through a high-powered tube amp at low volumes was a recipe for disaster. Hums, crackles, feedback. But Kurt didn't care. He wasn't chasing perfection. He was chasing emotion. When you listen closely to that performance, really listen, you can hear the Bartolini working its magic. It's there on About a Girl, where the guitar has this murky, buzzing character underneath the bright melody. It's there on The Man Who Sold the World, giving every chord a weight, a low-end growl that makes the song feel heavier than the original. That slight haze over the strings that barely contained feedback around the edges, it wasn't an accident. It was intentional. It gave every song an added layer of sadness, a subtle reminder that even in the softest moments, there was still something unstable brewing underneath. And when Kurt closed the night with "Where Did You Sleep Last Night?" it all came together. You can almost feel the entire room holding its breath. Kurt's voice cracks, and the guitar, instead of sounding like a smooth, beautiful acoustic, sounds like a ghost singing through an old, broken radio. That's the Bartolini. That's the magic of choosing imperfection over polish. It's easy to think of gear like the Bartolini 3AV as just a technical detail, but that night, it became part of the emotional language of the performance. The darkness it added to the sound wasn't just tonal, it was emotional. It carried Kurt's weariness, his vulnerability, his pain. And after that night, the story of that guitar and that pickup became almost as legendary as the performance itself. Kurt would only live a few more months after MTV Unplugged, and eventually his Martin D18E, still fitted with that Bartolini 3AV, would be sold at auction for over $6 million, becoming the most expensive guitar ever sold at the time. But money isn't the point. What matters is the legacy left behind. A battered old Martin, an oddball pickup, a man who refused to hide behind perfect sound, and a performance that still, decades later, feels like a window into a soul too raw, too real, and too rare for the world he lived in. In a world chasing perfection, Kurt Cobain showed us that real beauty comes from flaws, from pain, from being unafraid to sound broken. And thanks to that old guitar and that strange little pickup, we're still feeling it today. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the music that changed everything.